According to the allegations, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to compel victims to participate in prolonged sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom were transported or forced to be transported across state lines. Combs is accused of planning and controlling these sexual performances, which he referred to as freak-offs. Freak-offs is a term you might not have heard of a year ago, but today, if you've been following the legal case against Shawn "Diddy" Combs, you know exactly what it means. These sexual performances are now at the center of the criminal charges against the rapper. We will analyze the instances where the term freak-offs has been mentioned in various legal documents to understand what they are and their role in Shawn Combs' case. Welcome to our channel. Let's delve into the details of freak-offs. Freak-offs are at the center of Shawn Combs' New York criminal case, where he faces federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for the purpose of prostitution. These freak-offs could potentially lead to Shawn Combs spending the rest of his life in prison if convicted. The core of the case lies in whether prosecutors can prove that these activities were illegal, that they actually occurred, and that they were not consensual, as the defense has claimed. This is the key to the prosecution's success. The term freak-offs has appeared in numerous legal documents since the case began, and this is what we will explore. Every mention of freak-offs provides further insight into the case against Shawn Combs. According to the indictment, the criminal allegations from the prosecutors of the Southern District of New York stated the following about freak-offs. Combs and members and associates of the Combs organization used his power and reputation within the Combs Company to intimidate and lure female victims into his orbit, often under the pretense of establishing a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to compel victims to participate in prolonged sexual acts with male commercial sex workers, which he referred to, among other things, as freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborate and orchestrated sexual performances that Combs arranged, directed, participated in, and often electronically recorded. In organizing these events, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the Combs organization, transported and compelled the transportation of commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. Freak-offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasting multiple days, and often involved numerous commercial sex workers. During the freak-offs, Combs distributed various controlled substances to the victims, partly to keep them compliant and obedient, sometimes without the victim's knowledge. Combs also retained videos he recorded, capturing the victims engaging in sexual acts with commercial sex workers. Following the freak-offs, both Combs and the victims often received intravenous, free fluids to recover from physical exhaustion and drug use. There are several points to analyze here. First, beyond the intensity of these events, requiring IV fluids for recovery, the key difference between freak-offs and group sex or sex parties is the lack of consent. According to the allegations, these acts occurred as a result of coercion, threats, or force, not voluntary participation, and were entirely to serve Combs's desires. This is the central accusation. Second, the involvement of commercial sex workers is what makes these activities constitute illegal prostitution. The transportation of sex workers to participate in the freak-offs constitutes a separate federal offense that Combs is currently facing. Third, the allegations that Combs and his co-conspirators used his businesses, power, and resources to organize freak-offs are central to the racketeering conspiracy charge. This includes Combs allegedly directing a criminal enterprise involved in various illegal activities. The indictment also details that members and associates of the Combs organization, including senior supervisors, security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and other employees, assisted in organizing the freak-offs by booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, preparing necessary supplies in advance, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricants, spare linens, and lighting systems, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to minimize damage, arranging travel for the victims, commercial sex workers, and Combs to and from the freak-offs, supplying Combs with requested items, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial sex workers, coordinating the delivery of intravenous IV fluids. According to prosecutors, Combs could not have done all of this alone and required a network of support. Currently, he is the only named defendant, but this raises questions about whether supervisors, security personnel, or assistants are cooperating with prosecutors. They could potentially be called as witnesses or face prosecution themselves in the future. The case becomes even more complex with the searches of Combs' homes in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, in March 2024, which yielded significant physical evidence, including controlled substances and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Combs' lawyer explained that these items were purchased in bulk for his large household, but Costco, a major retail chain, denied selling baby oil. Therefore, it is clear that this will not be a defense Combs' legal team plans to rely on in the case. As I've said before and will repeat, I believe Shawn Combs' legal team will acknowledge the existence of the freak-offs. They might argue that yes, Combs participated in group sexual encounters, yes, he called them freak-offs, yes, he had thousands of bottles of baby oil and lubricants for these freak-offs, but everything was consensual, everything was transparent, and all participants agreed to take part. This might seem strange to you, to me, and perhaps even to the jury, but organizing freak-offs is not a crime unless criminal elements are present. However, the prosecutors have alleged that these criminal elements did indeed exist. According to the indictment, prosecutors allege that during the freak-offs, Combs coerced victims into participating through physical violence, promises of career opportunities, threats to withdraw financial support, as well as other means of coercion, including tracking their whereabouts, controlling their appearance, monitoring their medical records, regulating their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances both during and outside of the freak-offs. Combs is accused of hitting, kicking, throwing objects at the victims, and even dragging them by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. He is also alleged to have threatened the victims' careers and livelihoods if they resisted participating in the freak-offs. Victims believed they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking financial or job security or suffering consequences in the form of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating videos recorded during the freak-offs as leverage to ensure the victim's obedience and silence. These are the elements that make the freak-offs illegal if the allegations are true. Additionally, prosecutors have indicated that they possess substantial supporting evidence, including victim testimonies, corroborating witness statements, text messages, travel records, hotel records, video footage of the freak-offs, and payment records. Prosecutors claim they have dozens of videos recorded by Combs himself, documenting the freak-offs with the victims. They also allege that these freak-offs occurred regularly since at least 2009. One example cited was in approximately 2012 in Manhattan, where Combs reportedly paid over $46,000 to cover damages to a penthouse suite following a freak-off. Another aspect highlighted is that Combs allegedly used controlled substances such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB on female victims to keep them compliant and ensure their continued participation despite fatigue, physical and emotional exhaustion, and pain. The possession and distribution of these drugs are also part of the racketeering conspiracy charges Combs is currently facing. Finally, prosecutors stated that in March 2016, Combs was captured on surveillance footage hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman in a public area of a hotel as she tried to leave a freak-off. When a hotel security staff member intervened, Combs allegedly attempted to bribe him with cash, but the offer was refused. Afterward, Combs' staff contacted other hotel security personnel and the victim in an effort to cover up the assault and prevent the incident from becoming public. Just days later, the surveillance video reportedly disappeared from the hotel's server. This incident is directly connected to Cassandra Ventura, the defendant's ex-girlfriend, who filed a lawsuit in November 2023 alleging sexual assault and sex trafficking. Her lawsuit triggered a series of other lawsuits and appears to be the catalyst for the criminal case against Shawn Combs. According to Ventura's lawsuit, Mr. Combs began referring to these arrangements as freak-offs, or FOs. He would frequently tell Miss Ventura at random moments that he wanted an FO, and she was eventually expected to arrange the location and hire male sex workers. At certain points in their relationship, Mr. Combs insisted on having an FO weekly. He repeatedly referred to it as our thing and our secret. The FOs often took place in hotel suites, including at the Trump International Hotel in Columbus Circle, the Beverly Hills Hotel, the London Hotel in Los Angeles, Intercontinental Century City, Intercontinental Atlanta, Intercontinental New York City, the One Hotel in New York and Miami, Mandarin Oriental Hotel in New York and Miami, Fontainebleau in Miami, and Shutters on the Beach in Los Angeles. The level of detail and similarities with the allegations lead many to believe that the criminal case heavily relies on Cassandra Ventura's testimony, making her potentially the most critical witness. When Shawn Combs was charged with sex trafficking through force, fraud, or coercion, prosecutors referred to victim 1 inch in the indictment. While not explicitly named, many believe this to be Cassandra Ventura. Ventura alleged that Combs instructed her to arrange the freak-offs, including using escort services and websites to locate male sex workers and cover their travel expenses. She also claimed that Combs' staff prepared necessary items for these events, such as baby oil and Astroglide. Ventura also alleged that during a freak-off at the Intercontinental Hotel in New York in 2013, the room sustained significant damage due to the chaos, and Combs' chief of staff, Tony Fletcher, paid the compensation bill. She further claimed that Combs provided her with copious amounts of stimulants to keep her compliant during these events. She recounted being required to wear specific lingerie for the freak-offs, and Combs insisted she paint her nails white to contrast with the skin tone of the black male sex workers he hired to engage with her. He directed her to pour large amounts of oil over herself, instructed her on how to interact with the sex workers, and frequently asked, "How does it feel?" while guiding her actions. Regarding the filming of the freak-offs, Ventura alleged that, in addition to directing her and engaging in self-stimulation, Combs used his phone, laptop, and tablet to record scenes of her engaging with the hired sex workers. He reportedly treated these recordings as a personal art project, carefully adjusting candlelight to frame the videos perfectly. Ventura stated that she would often quickly delete any photos or videos of sexual acts if they were taken on her phone. However, Combs made it clear that he retained many videos of her, even after she attempted to delete them. On one occasion during a flight, Combs allegedly sat next to Ventura and forced her to watch a video she thought she had deleted, reinforcing the immense control he had over her. Ventura also claimed that Combs physically assaulted her in front of the male sex workers. She further recounted that before each freak-off, she would often become so anxious that she would fall ill, but she was still coerced into participating. In her lawsuit, Ventura stated that she was well aware that refusing to take part in the freak-offs would provoke Combs' anger and lead to violence. In addition to Ventura's lawsuit, music producer Rodney Little Rod Jones also referenced the freak-offs in his lawsuit against Shawn Combs. Jones alleged that DJ and music producer Stevie J participated in these events. A more troubling claim was that Combs' son, Justin, was also involved. Jones wrote that, around January 2023, Justin Combs participated in a freak-off on a yacht alongside his father and sex workers. He further revealed that Shawn Combs allegedly possessed compromising videos of everyone who had attended his freak-offs and house parties. If prosecutors have access to these videos, they would not only serve as crucial evidence, but could also lead to charges against other individuals or be used as leverage to secure their cooperation in the criminal case against Shawn Combs. These details are central to the allegations and are expected to play a significant role in the criminal proceedings against him.